Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for more video. We are rigging this right here. And this is the owner Gekito. This is the ultra slow. And it's a very good jig. Pretty standard. And at this point in time, it's actually kind of one of the oldies. But it works really, really well. Now, the difference with the rigging that I'm going to show you is that we are actually rigging this with just pure binding. There's no knots, no stoppers, no anything. I'm going to show you how I do it. The thing here is that I've done this for the back. Okay. So we're going to do the front hooks. And we are going to be using these. And these are owner chase. Okay, so these are the jigger medium chase. And they're 6.0. So the very first step is you should actually, I mean, in all seriousness, for this one in particular, you have to choose your braid and your hooks and your threads carefully. I'm using braid, fishing braid, right here. I know we used pink on this one, or you're going to use black, so that it's a bit more visible and that you can see it. The braid we're using is our true and tested marine. Okay, this is the 120 pound marine blue, and this is the one with the PE insert. So what we're gonna do is actually take the PE core off and put in a nylon core, or not nylon, but we're going to use fluorocarbon. Now, the reason why I say choose your braid carefully or cord carefully is because of the fact that we're going to be using glue. And there are some cords, take for example this one that I'm using right here, and this is my new favorite. I forget which brand this is actually, but the braiding on this is so tight that it's kind of impossible to actually splice it. So if you have something like this where the gaps of the braid makes it impossible to splice, you can't use it. You need braid that would be able to kind of let the or cord that would let the glue seep in, and that's very important. Now, another thing that you need to consider also is the fact that you're going to have, for the front hook at least, you're going to have to take the core off and put in fluorocarbon inside. And fluorocarbon is kind of slick. So you really need this to be the one that absorbs the glue, and we're going to be gluing quite extensively. So make sure that the best way, of course, is to just test out a few, put it on a, like a hook, like that, glue it, and then try to pull it off. That's if it sticks, then you know that you have something that will work. So right now, we're mounting the hook, and the first thing we do is do a thread base. Now, this is going to be kind of a quick tutorial because we've already done the back hook, but I don't want this to be longer than it should. Now, the second thing that you need to consider when you're doing this is, of course, the thread base, and then the tightness of how you actually wrap everything. Okay, and then the next thing you need to consider is the length, because we're working out with friction here and how much surface the glue has covered. All right, now what we do is put a coat of glue there. That will pretty much hold things together. Okay, and then you take your braid or your cord, and then whoa, you position it. Old fly tire strict, open loop, hold it there until it's fixed onto where it's supposed to be. Now, the biggest problem here is positioning it so that it's perfectly in the position you want. So there we go. And then make the thread work for you. We spiral out evenly until we get to the point where it's centered right there. You could fix it a little bit. All right. Now, then spiral back all the way to the back. Okay, what this does is actually create a layer. What I'm doing here, it's a layer with gaps, and what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to like fix the back so that we have a nice even taper for the. We're also catching. I'm gonna bring you in now, actually, so that you see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so what we have here, I'll get my pointer tool. So there's a little bit of the fluorocarbon sticking out, and we bound that because we can't rely on the fluorocarbon just being inside. It'll slip. All right, so we're see, we are binding it so that it doesn't move. Okay, and we're just building a nice taper like right there. At this point in time, what you need to do, because it has gaps, as you can see, is glue. Put glue on those gaps right there, and then on the side here as well. You don't need to glue on top, but if that makes you feel better, go right ahead. But see, the thing is that what's important here is that you glue the sides, because once you actually make wraps like this, you are forcing the glue in between the gaps. And that also brings the glue up on top. So it coats the whole thing. Again, slowly, just slowly go forward and take the gaps off, and then go back to get the gaps you did not get, but you need another layer anyway, so just go ahead and do it. So right there, I am just covering as much as I can, touching turns if possible. And basically what you're doing here is smearing the glue all throughout the whole area, spreading it. Okay, we're just fixing the taper right there, then go back again. If there are gaps, cover the gaps. We're almost there. And then now, okay, so I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here so that it's okay. Now that it's covered, all the gaps have been taken, and you have to do that in like the 3 passes that you have. Okay, like so. And then cutters. This makes it clean. At this point in time, you'll see that the back doesn't have glue. Okay. Now what I do here is first you take a needle, or I have a spreader tool here, and all I do is spread the glue all around, and it should coat everything, and it should be enough actually. Even for the back, but if you think that it's not enough, you just put a tiny drop like that at the back. So one drop, and then you spread it out, and it should cover everything. All you have to do is just spread it around. You'll know if it's spread around because of the color and the gloss. So this kind of method works. The problem is it's also kind of time consuming. That's why I kind of don't like it. Okay, and not really my thing for this, because in my experience, this thing, it doesn't come loose. I've been doing this for years. In fact, this is the first method that I figured out. And this is admittedly the cleanest. You'll see there's no bulges or whatever. The problem is, if you don't do it right, obviously it's going to slip, and there's a consistency issue there. Secondly, of course, the gluing. If you're not clean, you're not clean. Gluing takes time. Sometimes if you are not proficient enough, it's not gonna look clean. So right now, what we're doing, since the glue has already been spread around, what we're doing is just doing the final coat. And this is the normal coat that we usually do for this sort of thing. All right. And now we have to let it sit and wait until the glue completely dries up, and it'll make it as clean as possible. I'm seeing that there's some areas here that kind of need more, so it looks clean. I'm just gonna put that. So you can make this as clean or as haphazard as you want. It depends on you. For me, since I'm already here and gluing stuff, I'm just gonna make it as clean as possible. Okay, there we go. That looks tidy as a tiger. Now for the excess fluorocarbon, I'm just gonna cut off the end there. At this point in time, another tip that you could do is actually for your super glue. All right, before you put the cap on, this is new, and as you can see there, there's a residue. If you squeeze it enough, there's gonna be some stuff that's going to be left on the side. So what you need to do is actually just take a tissue, take that all off. Okay, clean it. Make sure that there's nothing that goes out the nozzle right there. Okay. That's when you put the lid, and it'll last longer. I've had so many bottles that just break. Also store it standing up. I've had so many bottles that I needed to kind of throw, even if there's still a few bits left. Now here's a tip. You have a clip, just clip the back, use that as a stand. And like so. All right, and then you can just make it stand like that, and it'll last a hell of a long time than actually just giving it. Now, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this. I'm gonna make this. Well, we're gonna let it dry, and then we'll come back after. All right. So we'll see you after the jump. Okay, now we've laid the thread base, and what we're gonna do is tape this so we don't get in trouble. Okay, so I've taped this so that it's easier to work with. Now, again, as with the first step, what we're gonna do is take our glue. Make sure you have a tissue to work with here. Okay, we have our glue, and then put a bead on top. So, okay, before you put the cap on, clean the tip. Okay, always have it standing. Alright, so I'm gonna use this, put it on a clip, stand it up somewhere where I could reach it later. Now, you have that. You take the cord with the hook, of course, and then position it like so. And then spiral. Spirals have to have a bit of force to them. Okay. And then you could do this without a vise, obviously. Okay, and then spiral wrap going back, and you'll see X's formed on top. Okay, right there. Okay, and what I do is actually form a nice taper here at the back so that it's clean before I start. So you're pinning the fluorocarbon and the tip. Like that, okay? So now that that's clean, what we need to do is put super glue on the sides right there. Okay, fill the gaps. This side and this side. You don't need a lot, but what happens is that all that you need to push it into the shank of the hook and the sandwich it between the braid, your tying braid, binding braid rather, and then the cord that forms, it basically fuses them. And the torque I'm putting on this one is actually fairly tight. Okay, again, try to take out the gaps on your way forward and on your way back. And how I do that is basically just making very tight wraps as close to the last wrap as possible. In fly tying, we call them touching turns. Takes a bit of practice, but you'll get there. Thread control obviously is very important. Again, something you learn in fly tying. Now I'm going back. And now we do our finishing wraps. You have to be careful with this because you could actually, I'm wearing glasses, so sometimes you make a mistake and you kind of splash super glue on your face, so not a good thing. Now, here, now that we've done that, what we need to do is spread the glue because you squeezed out the glue and now it's spread. Kind of spread it around, but there's some sections that will have more. Most important is that you kind of force all that glue in. Spread it around as much as you can. All right, so that's spread out. Now I will put a coat of super glue just to hold everything in. Okay. And this is no different from what we're doing normally. This is a coat of super glue just to fuse everything and make sure it doesn't unravel. It does not hold the cord. What holds the cord are your bindings and the super glue that we put in on the sides. This is basically kind of like a top coat. You're doing nails, it's just a top coat and basically just for abrasion protection. All right, so there we go. Spread that around just so it is coating evenly. There are no saggy parts. Okay, that's it. If you've done your job with the quantity, it shouldn't actually have a problem. All right, that's it. Then after this, we're just gonna have to put a solid ring. Okay. So we have our assist hook right there, and all that's really needed is a solid ring to finish everything off. Let's go ahead and do that so that we can see how the jig looks like when it's rigged with this. And obviously what's going to happen is that we're going to do a pull test just to see how well this thing has actually fused together, if it is going to survive a pull test or not. And that's actually the most important thing here. It is very important that the bindings will protect, because that's exactly what we want with these things. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we're tightening this, and then it's very important that I actually put significant force. There we go. Can't even pull it through. So these are actually quite strong. All right. Tried pulling it as hard as I could, and they're not budging. There we go. So that's not gonna go anywhere. Let's go ahead and rig this on the jig. And, see how it looks. But that's rigging right there, and went through the same process with this one as well. Let's go ahead and put some split rings on this baby. It is a very good jig. When it first arrived a long time ago, this was several years ago. Oh, we had a field day because, first time that owner came out with a slow jig, and boy was it effective, especially the small ones. The smaller ones we used on boat, on shore, and they just worked. So very happy with that. So you can see there that next to the jig, it's really very, very clean way of doing things. It's just, for me, it's just too time consuming, and then the gluing bit I really don't like. It takes such a long time. That's the only reason why I don't use this method, and there are faster, more efficient ways, but this undoubtedly is a very clean method. As you can see there. Okay. These will actually not tangle with each other. That is actually very well proportioned. So there we go. As you can see, quite a good rigging method. Very clean, as you can see there. And if you do it right, quite strong, if I do say so myself. So try it, but remember, be very, very careful, because I have had disasters with this type of method before. And although I like it, again, like I said, I don't like the gluing bit too much, but very clean. Alrighty, so that's it for now. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. If you're new to the channel, this channel talks about the hows and whys of fishing. We cover everything from big game, ultralight, everything in the middle, including fly fishing, and we're doing a jig rigging library. So we're doing a lot of these videos. And what you've just seen is one method of tying assist hooks that gives you the super cleanest. Out of all the methods, this is the super cleanest of the lot. All right. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And like I said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.